Okay, thank you. Meeting is called to order. Thank you all for attending. Those that are on virtual, if you have any technical problems, please put it in the chat and our staff will be helping you. Um, we will start with accentuate the positive, and I will call Shauna, please.
Good evening, Madam Chair Watson and the rest of the board. It's good to kind of see you all, your little tiny people on our screen, but good to hear from you all. My name is Shauna Schleif, principal at Phoenix Elementary School. Things are just going really well. I want to first express how excited we are that we finally found an office manager. That's kind of a big deal. We've been having some people subbing in there, but Wendy Duffy is a person who's worked for Phoenix for quite some time. And so she decided that she wanted to give it a try. And we are super thrilled to have her. She's really calm and excited and just has really positive energy. So she's already serving our students, staff, and families really well. I also wanted to give a shout out to Tiffany Nunez Rodriguez. She's been subbing also in the front office and doing a really wonderful job of just meeting all of the needs that come through the front office. Also wanted to share an update that last week we had our second leadership team meetings. And so just to remind you all that every single one of our staff members is part of a leadership team. And so we have our academic team, our social emotional learning team, our family engagement team, which addresses belonging and equity, and then our staff wellness. And so each team is creating goals and action plans to address our most important needs. And so it's just a really wonderful team spirit for our continuous school improvement plan. Wanted to finally finish with a couple updates. We're super excited that our cafeteria is going to be up and running fairly soon. We've been eating outside and it's worked great, but we're excited to have that new space to utilize. And then finally, tomorrow, I just want to give a shout out for in-service time, because basically the teachers and the staff get to go to school tomorrow and learn new things. So we have some wonderful professional development in store for everyone, from learning our new science curriculum, continuing with our new math curriculum, PLC work. Our classified staff will be learning about social emotional learning, small group instruction, progress monitoring, CPI, and other important skills. So we're just excited to have that time to learn more. So that's it from PES. I'll send it over to Kurt Schenk.
Thank you, Shauna. Kurt Schenk, Principal, Orchard Hill Elementary School. Good evening, Madam Chair Watson and board. It's great to see you all. I want to start with, I could probably duplicate what Shauna said almost completely, but so a lot of things that she said, I would say we're doing the same thing at Orchard Hill and loving it. But I want to start out with a thank you and a shout out to Juanita Hernandez. Juanita is our behavior specialist, and she's been instrumental in setting up and teaching our students about our regulation station. This is a classroom that we're using to utilize as a calming space for our students who are having difficulties with self-regulation. And all the elementary schools are kind of establishing the same space in their buildings. And so, but Juanita's done a great job. It's a beautiful space, and I invite you to swing on by anytime you want. I'd love to share it with you because I think it's pretty awesome space. So, and next up though, although it's gotten better, filling sub jobs was a little challenging here to start the school year off. But I want to give a shout out to Lori Evans, my instructional coach, and Sarah Engstrom, my new reading specialist, for their flexibility and teamwork to provide coverage for a couple of classes that we needed coverage for. Even though they're a new team, their collaborative spirit was just incredibly uplifting. So that was very, very appreciated. And again, tomorrow's in service, I was going to mention that. Just a great day. We're really excited about what's been put together for our teachers and the learning opportunities. And I just want to thank Tiffany Lambert for her helping get some trainings set up with outside agencies. And then just really appreciative of Shauna and Heather and Aaron for our collaborative work together. It makes preparation for this day very manageable when we all kind of take little bits and pieces of it and put it together. So thanks to my colleagues for that. Orchard Hill will be having a Fall Spirit Week at the end of this month. Concluding the Spirit Week, will be Freaky Friday, Wear Your Costume Day. And this year will be the first time in 17 costume days that as an administrator, I will not be saying no masks allowed. So I thought that was kind of interesting this year. So I was preparing for that and thinking about that. So anyway, we're looking forward to that. Some staff members are organizing that. We're really excited about having a good time that week. Along with that, the Orchard Hill PTA has been revived. They were kind of quiet last year and a few months, but they are new members. They've got energy and they're eager to be involved again in whatever way they can here at Orchard Hill. Their first planned event will take place during that Spirit Week. They'll be hosting the first annual OHES Trunk or Treat. So we're going to give it a shot and see how it works out. We'll be outdoors. We'll follow our protocols, our safety protocols. And they're going to have a raffle going on for Disneyland California Park passes. So they're hoping to get some interest in that and raise a little money that way and give some family a great vacation. So looks to be a fun night during a fun week over here at Orchard Hill. And then I will finish once again with sharing how much joy it is, board, to come to work every day and work with such a wonderful team of individuals I have here at Orchard Hill. The staff is just absolutely amazing. My new hires are phenomenal. And this many years into the game and still loving it the way I do, feel very, very lucky and fortunate. And so that's my report from Orchard Hill. Thank you very much, board. And I will go ahead and pass it on to Aaron because I think he was going to finalize the elementary reports. So thank you.
Thanks, Kurt. Yes, indeed. And on elementary school for Heather Lowe Rogers. She's out this evening. So I'm going to start out just by sharing that both the ODP classes as well as our PTRA lower grades classes are going to be heading to the pumpkin patch this Friday, the 15th, so a week from tomorrow. So we're excited to get back out there. I also want to recognize Denny Goodwin. She's our classified employee for PTRA. She does everything. She's a registrar, she's a secretary, she's our attendance clerk. She's also, oh, by the way, an instructional assistant and meets with small groups and large groups of kids. So she's just been amazing. I want to recognize her for all of that work. Finally, from the PTRA end, I want to kind of just broach with the board that we're just in the process of selecting what we would like to propose to the board as our Phoenix Talent Rising Academy mascot. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here a little early, that the students and staff have selected the Phoenix as a mascot for the PTRA. So I know there's going to be a process with that. And we had just got the final selection today. So I'll work with Denise and Brent on getting that on your agenda to maybe consider for next time. But we're pretty excited about that. The debate right now is how you pluralize Phoenix. So I'll leave that up to you guys. From the Talent Elementary School end, we have Heather asked that I recognize Corinne Calhoun, Sarah Bird, and Zach Boyles for stepping up to cover sub shortages. Just as Kurt had mentioned at Orchard Hill Elementary, a lot of their staff has really had to step up and fill in the classroom, and so she appreciates them. Just like Shauna mentioned, Talent Elementary leadership teams are working to create action plans to help carry their school improvement plan forward. She's excited about that. And then finally, Heather wanted to thank the district and the school board leadership, particularly for the work happening in the district right now in our diversity, equity, and inclusion area. So that's it from PTRA, ODP, and Talent Elementary. And I'll kick it on up to Mr. Valier.
Thanks, boss. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kent Valier, principal at Talent Middle School. I just want to highlight a few things about our great school. Today was a fabulous day, and one of the biggest reasons why is that Tracy Koa and I did some home visits, and wow, it was tremendous. We were able to bring a student to school and clear some serious barriers for one student so he can get to school more often and support that family. And had we not done that, I think that would have led to some more absences for that student and that student's sibling who is a high school student. So I'm grateful for the compassion and the creative leadership that our district shows to support a position like Tracy Coas. So thank you for that. We're also looking forward to tomorrow's teacher training events. Our specific plan at Talent Middle School to support our students. We've gone to a recent block schedule with longer periods of time, as you know. So one of their classes tomorrow will be strategies for teaching extended instructional periods. We'll also continue our training with Yale University's ruler training, which is recognizing, understanding, labeling, expressing, and regulating emotions. And also teachers will spend a good deal of time analyzing data from diagnostic baseline assessments to set some goals to see how we can get our students to grow more and acquire more skills and knowledge. So thanks very much. And I guess it's your turn, Toby.
Thanks, Mr. Valier. Hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to go incognito here. I think I'm getting some lag from my amazing background, but Toby Walker, Principal, Phoenix High School. Great to see you aboard. Great to be here. A lot of great stuff to share from the pirate ship. So hold on and let's get started. Last Friday, we had our first opportunity day at the high school. And basically it's where we block out an hour of the day every 3 weeks to provide extra academic support for students who need that support, and also extra time for students to do fun activities or enrichment work if they've been meeting those academic expectations. It was welcomed by students and staff, and we're going to be committed to carving out that extra hour about every 3 weeks. So that's a great thing. Next one doesn't maybe seem like an accentuate the positive, but it is a recognition. Last Sunday, we had a celebration of life for one of our former Pirates. As you guys know, Ellen Carvalho passed. She was an amazing woman that lived so much joy and shared that joy with her students that she taught, and also the staff members she worked with at Phoenix High School. We were also blessed to have known Ellen and grateful for the time that she put into our district and to all of our kids. So on a different note, as you're aware, state report cards came out today officially. As you can imagine, the Pirates are pumped about the work our students, families, and staff did last school year. There are so many different viable excuses our crew could have used to not perform well, but it's evident that we're rising above those. In case you missed it, we had a graduation rate of 93%. Didn't quite reach our goal of what we were shooting for, but feel pretty awesome about that. Our 9th grade on track rate was 87%. Nobody around this valley even comes close to that 9th grade on track, and I'd venture to say it's one of the highest in the state. Our graduation rate was 1 percentage point off of a school to the south of us, which would have been the top in the valley. So we should all be celebrating the amazing work and accomplishments of our students. We still have work to do, no doubt about it, and we're going to continue to work, but we're excited about the path that we're on. Lastly, it is homecoming week next week. We're excited to kick that off. Although we don't have all the regular events, it isn't going to stop us from having some fun. We've got those crazy dress-up days coming. I ordered my 80s gear, a lot of neon, maybe a fanny pack thrown in here or there, but I could not find the MC Hammer pants. Maybe next year I can find those things. One of the most exciting dress-up days is Toga Day, and that's only for seniors. It's the only day that we say, yes, wear a toga. Kurt, going back to your comment about wear a mask, we usually say don't ever wear a toga to school except seniors on this day. Friday, they will run through the building screaming toga, running up the stairs. I sure hope they've been training. We got to do some more stair runs. Wednesday night, we'll have He-Man volleyball at 6 o'clock in the gym. It'll be followed up by Powder Puff on the field at 7:15-ish. And our home football game is Friday at 7 versus Klamath Union. We're going to beat the Pels, and we'll be crowning our homecoming court at halftime. So hopefully you guys can pop in and see those events, but that's it from the ship.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to accentuate the positive?
Yep, Dawn, I've got some stuff. This is Dave Earhart.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, guys. Assistant principal and athletic director. I'm out in Klamath Falls tonight for football, but I want to check in beforehand and say hi. The Pirates are here, and we're excited about that. The game is going to be live streamed on mybasin.com if anybody wants to tune in. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We started our Junior Pirate Athletic League camps. Those have been, we haven't been able to do those for about a year and a half, and we've got over 200 kids participating in everything from volleyball. This Saturday, cheer starts. We've got basketball 6 days a week at the middle school. Then next Tuesday, we'll start wrestling. So we're really excited about that. And we've got some other camps we're going to bring online soon. And then our sports leadership team, we call it SALT, Student Athlete Leadership Team. We took our first road trip the other day, and we went over to Phoenix Elementary. And we took 20 kids over there, and they connected during lunchtime in classrooms, on the playground. Some even helped Shauna do some moving of items. So we're very excited about that. And the thing I'll close with is our PHTV group is back. They did a great job on announcements. Chris Plower's there tonight. He's doing our video for the board meeting, and it's just really neat to have that group involved again at the school. So again, it's been a great week to be a pirate. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, we will go to citizens' comments. And let's see, and I will read. As a reminder, the meeting of the Board of Directors are meetings in the public versus public meetings. Any comments from those joining us virtually will come under public comment laws. Please know that comments will be heard during the citizens' comment time on the agenda only and must be limited to 3 minutes with a total of 30 minutes for all comments. Please do not expect the board to respond to comments at this time. The board can not hear in public complaints directed towards an employee. Those complaints must be presented to the employee's immediate supervisor in person or in writing. If you wish to provide a public comment, please utilize the raise your hand feature. Oral comments and chat comments are electronically recorded. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and have your camera turned on and speak clearly. For the record, please state your name and organization if you represent any. If you submitted written comments, please summarize instead of reading word for word. Please be respectful and limit your comments to 3 minutes. As a reminder, you may also submit written comments by completing the public comment form, which is located on our website under the school board tab. Written comments should be submitted no later than 5 p.m. on the day before the meeting. Comments received will be shared with the board. Are there any comments? Zach Moody.
Thank you, board and board chair. I'm unable to turn my video on tonight. It looks like I'm having some issues with it and having some internet issues as well. So I apologize for that. My name is Zach Moody, and I'm here tonight representing a group of parents that calls themselves Phoenix Talent Families for Children. You may have heard about our group through various teacher comments and communications. But I'm here tonight to talk to you a little bit about what our mission is and make a few points. First of all, I want to say thank you for that public comment form. It's super helpful. One recommendation would be that if you can add a link to that you can actually upload a document, that would be helpful in case there's a written correspondence, so we don't have to copy and paste it or retype it into the form. So with that, a little bit about our organization. Our mission statement is that our children are worth fighting for. Our mission is to keep personal politics and controversial curriculum out of the classroom, all while helping keep our Phoenix Talent families informed and up to date as to what's happening within the school district. We feel that family values, morals, and ethical education should be taught at home. We want to make sure parents and community members know what is happening in Phoenix Talent School District and in the classroom. And to help everybody stay involved, we're encouraging all parents and community members to join our email list and get added to our email list by emailing us at ptfamiliesforchildren@gmail.com. We'll also be adding a social media presence to get the word out about our group. This group was started to provide information to parents and community members that the school district is not providing, such as what is being taught in individual classrooms and other curriculum-related issues as they pertain to individual teachers. To ensure that CRT and other politically driven curriculum is not being taught, we will begin the process of working with the school administrators to sit in on individual classes to evaluate teachers and what they're teaching. These teachers, we hope, will be chosen by, will be evaluated based upon information that we receive from students and parents about what's going on in the classrooms. This group was started to make sure that teachers and administrators are held accountable for what they do and say in the classroom, and to ensure that the political agendas are not part of any curriculum. We intend to continue to gather support of other parents and community members to demand that the school district establish clear disciplinary policies for teachers that engage in teaching curriculum that is not approved by the school district, including, but not limited to, critical race theory lessons, gender identification, and similar politically driven issues. This group was started to help educate parents and community members on how to get involved in the decision-making process of a school board, and how to ask questions when they arise, and how to find information through public records requests and other avenues. We hope to encourage parents and community members to get involved in every aspect of the school board's discussion and decisions, and to be a voice for the students and teachers. This group was started to educate residents in the school district on how their tax dollars are being spent, and how to educate them on the role of the school boards and teachers unions. We formed this group to take back our schools from the teachers unions and the political action groups that seem to be making all of the decisions for our teachers and students. Lastly, this group was started to support both teachers and students, and we intend to continue to do that. Parents and teachers in the community and around the nation have been patient with our schools and school boards, but the lack of interest in listening to and acting on the concerns raised by the residents is causing tension across the U.S. I just have one more paragraph, if I may. We have been attending and respectfully participating in these meetings now for nearly 4 months, asking very direct questions and not getting any responses. It's time for the school district to take action on the concerns of those that are financially supporting this district, us, the taxpayers and parents, to look past political agendas and to focus all their efforts on giving the students traditional education without politics. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go on the next speaker, I'm going to remind you, please do 3 minutes if you're reading. We will get, if you submit those letters, we will get those and be able to read them word for word. So anyone else would like to do a public comment? I'll give you 10 more seconds to respond. Seeing none, thank you very much. We will go to superintendent report.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair Watson. First, I just want to echo Principal Walker's words on the news today on the at-a-glance report cards. You have those for each of our school in our district and ATI as well in your blue folders. Something really to celebrate. If you ask Mr. Walker, though, some of these numbers aren't necessarily a surprise because they track this all year long. And I think that's why we have such success is we catch things early, we provide supports early, we communicate with our kids and families, and make sure that we're doing everything we can to ensure success of our students. So definitely a celebration. What we don't know is how we compare really from our districts around the region. And so definitely something to be proud of, and great job. These are always district awards because our foundation starts in the elementary and then continues through middle school and then the high school, and the high school really has the job to get them across the finish line. And what we had to the lift last year, I don't have to tell you, was gigantic. So with all the obstacles, so congrats to the staff, congrats to all the people involved, and just really something to celebrate today. Also in your blue folders, you'll see a draft of the goals working on this year. Typically, I send these to you in September for review. So they're in draft form now. And if that's something that you feel like is good to work on this year, it includes a variety of different things, and would encourage any comments on those as well. In your blue folders, you have the report from Janet on the OSBA facilitator at the listening session that just kind of gives a rundown of the listening session and the comments that were made. And we had a few comments that were submitted, and those will are in there for your review. Finally, just want to share that October is well, not only Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and our thoughts are with all those that have been impacted by that, but it's also National Principal Month. And I just want to share my appreciation for all the building administrators that are just working tirelessly in our schools and working with our kids and staff and families. This team is caring, compassionate, really courageous, and I just can't ask for a better team of administrators to be really on this journey with. It is a tremendous honor to be leading this district, and really appreciate all the principals and assistant principals in our building. So thank you all there. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Brent before I move on? Seeing none, we will go to the consent agenda, which is the approval of tonight's agenda, the approval of minutes for 9/14/21, the community listening session, the approval of minutes for 9/16/21, the regular board meeting, excuse me, and the approval of minutes 9/25/21, board work session, and the personnel report.
I just have one little correction for the regular board meeting minutes for the vote for the LPC position that I abstained from the vote. And so Denise is just going to make that correction. And so I'll move that we accept the minutes and personnel report with that small correction.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Polly. Do I have any discussion on this? Hearing none, the consent agenda is passed. Moving on, we have no action items. We will be having some coming up. I'm assuming we would like to skip the recess and move on to facilities and bond update.
Yeah, I'll just give a brief report. In your blue folder, as you know, we have solar panels all over the roof of this building, and John provided a report to you that he can access and he gets every day. And it's, we've had some pretty nice sunny days, so we're really generating a lot of sustainable solar power. And just to remind you, when you do capital bond projects supported by bond measures, 1.5% of the total amount needs to be dedicated to solar energy. So we also received a lot of grants for that work because that was a pretty spendy project. So it's cool to see that. The renovations at here at the high school and at Phoenix Elementary are going well. We have some delays, as many people do in the building industry now, but for the most part, we're doing okay. They're minor delays, and we're hoping to have be in our renovated space in the high school by the end of this month or first part of November, and then sooner than that for Phoenix Elementary gym and cafeteria. So those are all going really well. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, moving on to financial update.
Yeah, I'll just share for Jasmine as well. She is knee deep in audit. So that will be coming up later this month. Also, as you know, we had a robust summer school. And so really closing out all of that financial information. And our district really took advantage of the funds from the state of Oregon. And so we are going to be seeking the maximum reimbursement in a lot of areas. And we utilize some title funding and leverage some other funds to support the rest of summer school. So we will probably have a financial report in November after the audit. And other than that, we'll talk about it here in a little bit. But, I just kind of mentioned the impact of ADM. We are down this first quarter report about over 350 students. So, and we can talk about that at the next information discussion when it comes up.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, we will move on to legislation OSBA updates. I don't have very much to say this time. Just a reminder that the fall listening session, they used to do fall, it was more of a fall legislating update, but they have decided, OSBA has decided that they're going to do more of a listening session and be able to take input, because what's happening around the state is different in different pockets. So they are wanting to, I know what the board is doing some work at our last board meeting we had on recognizing how we can help each region, because not every region is facing the same challenges. So they will be prepared to bring your challenges and your questions to OSBA, and that is the 28th of October. And then LPC, as Sarah mentioned, it looks like Sarah only has one opponent, Ray Williams from Prospect. So good luck to Sarah, and we will be supporting her. I will be supporting her at the regional fall listening session, and hopefully we'll be able to hear from both candidates like we usually do, and go from there. And then Jeff Golden had a what do you call it?
Town hall.
A town hall. Thank you. We just faced a town hall meeting. I did not attend, but did anyone attend and want to speak about it?
I attended. It's always interesting to hear from the representatives in the legislature, their perspective on what's happening at the state level and how they're getting input. And I appreciate that from their local constituency. So Jeff Golden does a good job of providing those opportunities and taking questions, and it helps develop relationships. So when you want to advocate for your community, they know who you are. So
Perfect. Anything else on legislation or OSBA? Any questions? Okay. Hearing none, we will move to the Alameda Fire update.
Yeah, just real quick, we still have hundreds of families in hotels that are, and many of them are our families, because we're picking them up at different hotels throughout the region. So we're hopeful that there's housing opportunities. One would be the Gateway project, which is starting to take shape. And that is a partnership between Tura and the school district and Rogue Retreat. And those applications will be open to share with our families next week, so we can get that out. And then we'll help facilitate Rogue Retreat, who will be managing it will make the final decision, but in cooperation with our staff. So, I'm excited about that opportunity. That's it.
Anybody else have anything to add? Okay, thank you very much. Any questions for Brent before I move on? I forgot that part.
that's 53 spaces. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah, 53 spaces. And to clarify, these are originally, it was going to be, reigniting the RV donation campaign. But the state of Oregon actually purchased 53 2022 awesome big trailers. I don't know how else to explain that, but it sleeps up to 8. They're all the same. And so our families will be able to stay in there. There will be fees associated with it, but it will be minimal, and there'll be a qualification if you, can't afford the fee. So Rogue Retreat's really good with that. So it's going to be an amazing space. And there's, 3 food truck pads there that will be opening as well. So, so it's good. And those families that were received donated RVs that actually own those may need to find storage for their RVs if they want to keep them, or they could sell that and have it as resources for moving forward. So good question.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we will go to out-of-state student activity trips.
Yeah, so we have one with the band, and I just want to kind of clarify with the board on how you want us to do this. We worked with our insurance agent. The board technically doesn't have to move this to action to approve out-of-state trips. The insurance carrier just recommends that the board understands that there's different tort laws and things of that nature if you travel across state boundaries. The insurance coverage is the same no matter what. So what I would like to recommend is just have these on for information and discussion for your review, just so you know where our kids are going and what they're doing, but not putting them on action. And if that's okay with you, we'll use that process. So our band's going to Folsom. We have been doing overnight trips. Every once in a while, we actually did a couple at the end of last year for some statewide things for athletics. And then this year it's starting up again, but there's extra protocols that are in place for overnight trips. And sometimes it costs a little bit more money because really being cognizant of how many people are in hotel rooms, staying in hotel rooms. So, but Dave and his crew are on it and working with Nurse Carrie. So it's great that opportunity is there for kids.
Any questions or discussions on this? Okay, moving on. State report cards.
Yeah, so you have those in your blue folders, and I just want, and I know Toby's probably explained this, Joe's explained this, I've explained this all day. So on track to graduate number, which he said was 87% for high school, is really a ninth grade measure. And we know that if students are on track to graduate after their ninth grade year, the chances of them graduating on time is very high. There's a direct correlation there. So that's why it's a measure for the state, and that's why we use it as a measure too for our goals in our district, in our strategic plan. So if our freshman students earn 6 credits, they would be on track to graduate. We also had some opportunities for students that didn't earn 6 credits to earn some credit during summer school, and the credits earned during summer schools count for that on track to graduate. So, and then, graduation rate, that's been a steady increase for the last several years, and it comes with a lot of intention as well. We have systems and programs that are in place. Measure 98, it's actually called High School Success now. It provides funds specifically to increase graduation rates and engaging activities and college level opportunities. And those have been proving very successful, especially with our 2 dedicated and great graduation coaches who are just an additional resources for students and families to help support, break down barriers. I just might note that this is the second year in a row that our Hispanic Latino population graduated at a 94%, which is slightly above the overall population, and that's for the second year in a row. So that achievement gap has essentially been eliminated in the graduation rate number. And you can go on the ODE website and look at all the information and the all different schools and get in, and you can get lost in data, but that's a resource as well.
Any questions for Brent?
I don't have a question, but just more of a statement of congratulations to you and to all the staff and to these kiddos and their parents. This is, I think sometimes it's easy to put too much stake in these things, but they're important indicators. I'm just very proud of our district and the efforts being made to graduate kids and to ensure that they can be successful adults. So congratulations and thank you. I know that also, it's data on a report, but it represents a lot behind the scenes going on to make that possible. So congratulations again to you and to Toby and all of those kids, their families and staff.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a comment or a question? Okay, hearing none, we will go to the JAB meeting, the Joint Administration and Board meeting. We've had that in the past yearly. Last year, we decided to not have it due to COVID reasons. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about having it this year and our thoughts on what it would look like.
I really appreciate the JAB meeting because it really takes what this big number report and really hears from each admin about what's happening at their school and really, so I appreciate the breakdown and information that they give. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to figure out a way to have it this year.
Yeah. Brent and I have been talking about it. I don't know if you want me to go first. And I had some questions too. I wanted to make sure that, everything we were doing the JAB meeting the way that we should be doing the JAB meeting, right? And so I reached out to Steve Kelly at OSBA. He is the director of board development. And so that looked like a good thing. So he answered my questions. We had kind of talked about doing a meeting in the district boundaries at a public place, maybe the Phoenix Community Center or the Manor or someplace like that. They are open to the public. And then I did ask about, in the past, we have had dinner and mingling before the meeting, and I wanted to see if that was okay, because I don't want to break any rules. I said, but we only have a budget for our staff and the admin staff and us. And he said that was fine, just to make sure in the public notice that it would be social with food only for the staff, and then we can start the meeting. So he said that was totally okay if that's the direction the board wanted to go. I had heard from some members that they liked that little bit of mingling time. Obviously, we need to be very careful and no decisions can be made, but how are the kids and get to know is acceptable. So I just will bring that open for discussion, what everybody thinks about that.
Someone provide me just in a couple of sentences what the purpose of the meeting is, because that's, after a year and a half, still very unclear to me, and having not been to one. What's the purpose of the meeting?
Yeah, I was actually just looking around, and I think only 2 board members here have been to one. Do you want me to answer that?
Yes, so
Okay.
you probably do better than me.
We've been doing this for years in this district, and it's just a great time for our school administrators to not only share, the data that the public really judges us on and sees at this time of year, but all the innovative stuff that's happening in our buildings, and just things that you may not hear otherwise. We have a process with this Accentuate the process positive that oftentimes you do hear, but it's just a really good way to share the programs that are in our schools, show the impact on some of the programs that we're having with some of the data, and also since it's towards the beginning of the year, share what their schools are working on for this current year. So I think it started long before my time here. This is my 18th year, and it started long before my time. But it was really a chance for board members to really get a in-depth, exclusive look into our schools. So when they're asked about what's going on in our school buildings, they have some, things to share with the community. So that's how it started.
Each principal gets, I think, about 15 minutes, something about that, and they do their data. They talk about, it depends on the year, like how they're improving their attendance and the different ideas they've came up with that, and different programs they're doing throughout, and their goals for their school, and the plans the school and staff have. And then it's open up to the board members to ask questions, and it's really, really informative. I cannot say how much I learn at every single one of these JAB meetings, and just having that being able to have open dialogue about, different things, how bus pickup is doing or whatever like that is really valuable.
I'll also say that in looking at the 3-year strategic plan for the district, that the building admins really tie in the goals and what they're doing in their own individual schools to really help meet the strategic plan for the district. So I think that there's been different reports or different information maybe over the last year and a half that you've asked about or wondered about. And I think we keep saying, oh, we usually hear about that at the JAB meeting. And so it really is a rich time. And I think Brent said it best. It really does give us an opportunity to hear from each of the building admins about what's going great, and how they're working through the challenges and what they're doing, so that when we are interacting with the community and someone talks about something that's happening in the district, we at least have an inkling of what they're talking about. So.
I also might add, this is when that school report cards weren't as comprehensive as they are now. Because you'll notice on the school report cards, there's information text on goals and what things, what they want to highlight. I do want to highlight that because I reminded the principals 2 days before it was due a couple weeks ago. So they worked hard on that and really shared what's happening. It's pretty easy to fill out when you have a lot of great things happening. So.
Did that answer your question, Michael?
Yeah, I think so. It's basically kind of like a school administrator / board work session program report type of setting. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's, no action items.
Yeah.
It's pretty scripted on program, like multiple program reports in one day.
It's about like an hour or so program report. And I think the admins have fun. I hope they have fun. And it's nice to hear what they're all doing. And it's usually a great time. I think everybody has a good time.
Is it something that your team's feeling like they have the capacity for this year to prepare for and to do all that?
I'm looking.
I think this year, I don't want to speak for our entire administrative team, but I will. I think they are more prepared this year. I mean, it was, distance learning. I mean, remember we had 4 starts to the school year last year. And so every time we were talking about it, it was just like not a good time. So, I think, they'll be prepared, and I think it will be something that they can share, and they really enjoy sharing as well with the board and answering any question. So if it's something we do want to continue with, we can start researching venues and having it similar to share a meal and then have the program reports. Maybe we can have that maybe not by next time, but the first meeting in November.
There's already a meeting date on our board
Calendar.
for
Yeah.
it. So we already have a date and a time. It would just be looking for a venue. Is that?
Yeah. I think it's November 18th, if I correct. So yeah, we have it on the board calendar. It's just what type of setup we want to do.
So I guess my question is, are you guys, how does everyone feel about doing a meal and going to a public venue and having that kind of meeting? Is that okay? Or do you have other suggestions or?
I am all for it. Actually, I think it's really important to meet the leadership in person from the different schools, for them to be that interaction. It really brings things alive, I think. And I don't know, I think it's a really appropriate time for us to start to come together and celebrate all the wonderful successes that continue to happen amongst all the uncertainty that also continues to happen. So I'm excited. In November 18th, is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion on this? So Brent, and I can help you if you'd like, look for a venue and.
Yeah, we can do that. One question I would have is if we want to include ATI in this. They typically haven't been. They've done a program report separately, but I think it would be appropriate to have ATI.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
That'd be
please.
good.
I know that she said that she was busy if she's able to do it, because I think has some kind of deadline for something else. I can't remember what it was, but if we would love to have her, and I'm not sure why we haven't invited her in the past, but thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
Also, is Phoenix Talent Rising, would they also be able
Yeah,
to
I was
participate
looking
in
at-
this as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Aaron wouldn't miss it, right,
They,
Aaron?
Aaron would not miss it.
I didn't know. So
Here's
wanna make
the,
sure you're
that would be
included.
something moving forward. They
Yep.
wouldn't have data for, I mean, this is the first year they have a school, but definitely, willing to share, I'm sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Revealing
We'll
of
get
what the
going on it.
mascot would look like.
Yeah, we can learn lots about that. Okay. Division 22 standards.
Yeah, as you may remember, this report typically is delivered to the board and the public in February. There was a change in this. It makes more sense to do this in the fall because it's previous year's information. And they changed some of the rules a little bit. There's a public meeting, prior to our next board meeting that we'll be presenting the Division 22 standards and updates. And, it's similar to a budget committee or a budget meeting prior to adopting the budget. But we have to, at that time, open the meeting up to the public and share the Division 22 standards. So it's great that it's following, earlier in the year. It puts a challenge on the three of us to get all the information together, and they have added probably 30 tabs and standards to that. So, but we will have that folder for anybody that wants to go through that at that time, at that next meeting. So looking forward to sharing that.
Thank you very much. Any questions about that before I move on? Okay, seeing none. ADM security. So as you know, we are hopeful that in February that the legislation will pass our ADM security. The three other districts, I did not bring it up on my computer, Santiam and McKenzie have I forgot which one of them, they're at their board meeting decided to reach out to all the board chairs of the three districts, and so that we can work together on coming up with a plan of we just felt like advocacy. It would be better to come as a united front and show the same interest and share our story. So I'm not sure, they haven't set a date when that would be, but that will be, I'm sure, coming up soon. So we will share that with you. And Brent meets with them all the time.
Yeah,
The superintendent.
and we're connected. And then we've also had 2 meetings recently with ODE and COSA, just talking about really the impact once we pulled our ADM numbers this year. We are significantly down, as are the other districts. And it's all largely due to Alameda Fire. So it's a little tricky to see how the legislation will be worded, but Pam Marsh is a champion for this, always has been. And so I think she will be the one presenting the bill in cooperation with the other districts representation as well. So I'm hopeful, but I think the reaching out to the other districts is, we don't want to take things for granted because it needs to happen in February.
There was a real number, I think, that was shared during the budget meeting about significantly what it meant. But one of the communications I saw was Measure 98 money that isn't going to necessarily be captured. Is that?
So you always look on the
I
bright
don't-
side of things, Sarah.
I
And no, but this is a bright
apologize,
side
but-
because it
didn't
wasn't
ask you
originally.
previously.
If it would have
Oh.
passed last year, it would have been SIA and ADM. But now when we're looking at our Measure 98 and the impact that it's having on graduation, we're talking about, they're talking about adding that, and there's no qualms about that. I mean, that we need to keep that Measure 98 funding stable because we have programs, we have people, and it's making a huge difference. And we can share all the data we can. So it was not included last time. So that's one kind of shining light on having it delayed, because all three of those are necessary: ADM security, SIA, and Measure 98.
Is it going to, oh, go ahead. What's SIA?
Oh, student, thank you. Student investment account. And so that's, has to do with your total ADM. And so if our ADM, if they go off our ADM, actual ADM that's been drastically reduced, all those other funds are drastically reduced. So it's really a triple whammy.
Are they going to retroactive? Is that part of the conversation too, so that things that have been in place don't have a hiccup?
Yeah, and that's the key. And that's what our superintendents have been sharing with ODE and our legislatures, because we're spending the money. I mean, Measure 98 funds. So if it goes drastically reduced, we'll have to cut before the end of the year and cut next year. So it has a big impact, and I think, I'm confident it'll go through, but it's not done until it's done, and that's why all the advocacy we can do it is great. So, but great questions.
I have questions.
Yeah.
So what can our community members and our parents do to help with this?
I think when the time comes, and there's hearings typically on legislation, is just be a part of that or submit public comment on the bills. So we'll make sure that our community knows where and how to do that. Good question.
And I'm not sure if they're doing public comment yet on that, because it sounds like they're doing it differently than this bill will be going through differently. So I listened to during the legislation session. I'm on calls a lot, and hopefully Sarah will be joining me as LPC member. And it's something that I will have and Brent will have on, but from what I'm hearing right now, it won't be a typical public comments hearing type thing, but that could change like 24 hours before. So yeah, it's a great question.
So you'll keep us in the loop with the conversation that's happening with the other board chairs? And
Yes.
What, like Polly said, what do we need to be doing?
I'm sure that there will probably be a resolution, and then there's probably going to be, data from each district, and then probably testimony from communities and families when we get to that point. We will be talking about this probably almost every meeting because it's that important. Any other questions or discussions on this? Thank you so much, Brent, for helping out with that. Safe School Group.
Yeah, our Safe School Group met on September 23rd. Rick is usually the board member that represents and shows up to that group, and I think if he was here, he would welcome anybody to be involved in that. They're typically they're once a quarter. They're an hour meeting from 9 to 10. We have school representatives, we have elected officials, we have our SROs, we have our police chiefs, we have our partners in restorative justice at Resolve. We have partners at Maslow for our homeless. So a lot of different voices at the table. And where it started was back in 2006 or so. We just went to a conference to really find how to support students and families. And what we found out were we were doing a lot of duplicating services, or, maybe maybe we were working with, this student, but their relatives were over here experiencing the same challenge, and really it's just a connectivity. So it's great. We get a chance to kind of share how our school is operating, basically on the safety and the programs. And if there's something comes up, it's oftentimes that, hey, give me a call. I think I can help with that family or that resource or what you're struggling with here. So it's just a good connected group, and it's nice to have, the relationships in the community with so many people and have that a regular meeting. So I would invite anybody if they can break away from their day duties between 9 and 10 once a quarter to do that. If you're interested, let me know and I can put you on the invite.
Do you know the date for the next one? You know I was going to ask that, huh?
Yeah, I do know the dates. Not
There's
right
some-
now,
Okay.
but I can send those to you and you
That'd be
guys can let me know.
And we
But-
can have 3 board members on that. And
Yeah.
Rick said that he's willing to step off if there's 3 other people. But he told me the story today of how it was, and he went to a conference in Denver, and
Mhm.
and he's been involved in it for quite a long time. And we haven't talked about it for a lot, so I'm glad it's back up on the agenda because it's very important. So thank you very much. Any other questions or comments on this? Okay, student representatives. So we talked a lot at the board work session about how we're going to do our student representatives. And this kind of, I'm trying to stay on topic because it goes for the next 2. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do on student representative part.
On the student representative, so just to let you know, Toby's still in recruitment. Our kids are really busy, overwhelmed, and so we're hoping to have all the applications mailed out in the packet to you next week. And then when we talk about the October 21st meeting, the thoughts were to meet them there and them be in person to interview. So that's the thought now. So. And hopefully we have 2 right now that have applied and expressed interest. That would be great. And I think there's others that just needed a little more time.
Okay, any questions on that? And then we're also going to talk about the liaison and then that meeting as well. So it's kind of triple. So at the work session, I'm going to go on to the board representative liaison. One of the things we came up with talking about the student reps was having some board members be liaisons to the student representatives to kind of help answer the questions and make a connection and have them feel comfortable, and we can get some feedback on how it's going to improve the program. So if any of you are interested in being a board liaison with student reps, would you like them to let you know, Brent, or?
Yeah, they can let us know, and then we can see who's interested in do that. I think it's an important role, as you can imagine, coming into your first meeting as a student rep, and we've kind of just thrown them in. So it'd be nice to meet with a board member prior to that, just to answer any questions and get some familiarity.
Any questions or comments or discussion on this?
I just want to ask, when you were part of the Medford School Board, did you have student rep?
We did.
And did you
Yes.
have a board liaison as well? Do you know or remember?
We did not. No, but I think it's a really good idea.
Oh, I do. I just wondered if
Yeah.
there was actually even, if you had experience
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
in that role or,
Yeah.
We are having they're called chair. I forgot what it's called, but board chairs. OSBA is having a webinar next week for board chairs, and that's a question I could ask and say, hey, how many boards have liaisons, and maybe contact, so I can contact them outside and get some suggestions. I can do that if you'd like.
I know Portland Schools has a liaison because they were part of the webinar that I did this summer that talked about student voice. And so I know Portland Public Schools has,
Okay.
I think, at least 2, at least 1 who shared, and I think 2. But that might be helpful for whoever steps into that role out of the gate, if there's some mentorship even in that.
And I found some documents online from other boards that I can share too, of different ideas of board liaisons and what that looks like. It was very helpful. There's no reason to invent the wheel if you can use
Right.
pieces
Mhm.
from other districts. And they were from all over the West, Idaho and Washington, as well as Oregon.
That would be helpful for the people serving in that role to have some almost like a job description, some guidance on yeah, what that looks like.
I can get that together and we can have it on discussion for the next meeting on guidance, even though we want to have it before that, but we can send something out and work on that, but yeah, good idea.
One other thing I've seen, and you may consider as well, and I don't want to volunteer anybody to do this if they don't want to, but I've seen where there's certain roles of the vice chair that are fill those, like you are in your role here, you are a student liaison, but
I would love to be a student liaison. Yeah, absolutely.
But it might be clearer and cleaner knowing when that role is, if there's a responsibility other than just vice chair. So that's another way I've seen it happen.
I think that's great. I've seen that at different places where the vice chair kind of takes some kind of other roles to help them. Not that you need help being chair, but it kind of helps getting comfortable in that seat. Even though I do not think that. I don't think you need that.
Deserved it.
So I wasn't being mean.
No, I know, but I still deserved it.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments on the student representative? Okay. Our October 21st meeting, it is scheduled for 10 o'clock here. Brett and I have had discussion and we wanted to get your guys' input on still having it at 10 o'clock, but instead of we usually have a class come in, but with the way the schedules are going and the year is going, just to have that time with the student reps, because depending on how many we have, it's going to be a little bit. And then if possible, if you wanted questions, we could do maybe like virtual questions or something, but I think student rep time is going to be could be a big chunk. So I'm opening up to discussion what you think, if you would just like to do student rep during that time, and is the afternoon meeting, the mid-morning meeting still what we prefer?
I'm not sure I understand what you just said.
Yeah.
So in the past, we have 2 meetings a year that's during the day.
Yeah, I knew about that.
Okay.
That the meet during the, but what exactly you're saying? We do our regular business at another time, but just do the student
No.
rep part. Okay.
So normally we have a class will come in from the high school and a class will come in from the middle school, and they'll pre-ask the board questions, and it's kind of like a study. They'll ask us questions, we'll answer, and sometimes we'll ask them questions. It's kind of like an open with the class. Due to things going on, I think that might be a little difficult. Plus, we want to do the student rep. So in lieu of that, I'm asking if we would just like to interview the student reps and not do our typical answer questions with the students, if that is okay.
We would be putting off the student rep part if we did the classroom.
Well, it would make the agenda longer doing both. And then there was also some, and Brent can, or maybe Toby can help. There was also some concerns with the classroom and the way school has started and the timing of making that happen.
It's fit before to really have that classroom be able to come in during that time. And the way the schedule is right now, it's not, as clean. And so since we've delayed the student rep a little bit, I think, that's a natural fit to get the student reps in front of the board and spend that time.
I agree. I think that that's a good idea. And then hopefully, going forward, we can ask the student reps to maybe come with questions or they can be that connection and ask some of the, we typically get the lunch menu question and the activities question and, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully, we'll get that throughout the year with the representative report.
And then hopefully we do have the middle school one that's usually in the spring, and we would be able to get those questions from the middle school and give Kent a heads up right now that we will have the middle school join us in the spring.
So the biggest question right now is, do we want to have the meeting in the morning or in the evening?
It's scheduled for the morning.
Okay.
Are we all going to be able to attend, I guess is the biggest question.
I'm wondering how long. I know that's a crystal ball question, but how long does it usually, with with all of our items, I don't see many action items, but
Well, the next draft addenda, there's only one action item. It's the student
doing that
representative.
job.
So this has it to be 2 hours, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be an hour and a half. It's usually an hour and a half to,
It's usually an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty chatty. Well, I'm with the students. You know, it's fun to have that dialogue. So, but since we would just be doing the interviews and we have the 1 minute time limit for the question, so it could go.
and our information and discussion, like tonight, we have a lot of discussion items, like deep discussion, and most of this is like board policies, which we usually don't spend a lot of time discussing versus some of these other things that we're discussing tonight. So I would say probably about an hour and a half, but it's hard to tell. But we also need a quorum, so that was, but it's,
I'm available to meet, and that works for me to have the student representatives show up.
thank you, Nancy.
I can make that work. That's fine for me.
I need to have my work schedule,
Okay.
so I'll let you know.
And we do have virtual, so if you can't make it, maybe you can
Yeah.
come for that piece. I know sometimes other in the past, board members have, done by phone back in the day for like, voting and important things, and then you can stay as long as you can. So,
Thank you.
okay, we will move forward to having just the student reps and having it at 10 o'clock. And then here at the library, I hope that works out for the school.
Do we need to commandeer the students for the whole meeting, or can we have them? Or
I think we can have them for, we can designate a time and do that. So
Yeah.
sometimes that happens anyway. So we have the program report with the class and we're getting through, we might be through a couple action items and then we go back to program report. So we'll work with Toby on that and see, let's count on this time where it fits in their schedule. And then, within that hour and a half, we'll have some time.
Yeah, we're pretty flexible. If we're talking something, we finish it and then move it to the students. So
okay,
we
yeah.
wanna-
I just if it works for their schedule, then great. If that's just a lot of time out of the classroom too. So whatever. I mean, not up to us to manage, but I just didn't want the impression to be that they had to be here for the whole meeting if that was a challenge with their schedule or something like that.
We'll definitely look into that.
Because it's during the day.
Mhm.
So
Okay, anything else? Okay, moving on to the Culver Road facility update.
So that facility is moving forward with the UGB and Talent, as we've mentioned before. We're hopeful to get on the docket to discuss that very soon with the City of Talent. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago with some stakeholders and partners about what we want out of that facility. I think really do some long range planning and some strategic planning based on what the need is, not only for the school district, but for our community partners as well. And it was a great start to a meeting. Jay Harland was there. He's so good with all the information and process and things of that nature. He's also done our long range facility plan. So he knows our needs or really what we don't need as well. Because some questions say, will we need this funding in the future for this? And he knows all of that. So we're looking forward to continuing those discussions, working with our partners. And it's pretty rich and engaging and fun opportunity for not only kids, but community members as well. Sarah, you were there. I don't know if you want to add anything else.
It was really great to hear from all of the parties who would benefit, and just like you said, the collaborative group of ideas and opportunities and vision for what can happen in that space. Really. Was there the next meeting scheduled?
No, and John sent out an email, I think, recently, and we're getting a new kind of updated plan from CSA with all the discussions that were happening. And so once we get that, we'll set a meeting to, kind of review and discuss, and hopefully we can share what's going on with the UGB as well. As you know, there's a desire, and I think I saw Erin Perrin on here earlier, but there's a desire. She's the president of the Little League, and there's a desire to maybe partner with the Little League to have fields out there to where, kids programs and high school programs can just be in the same place, which would be amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Really a great opportunity for our families. Lots of great opportunities for our families.
Any questions? I have a few questions, if you don't mind. So this is at the beginning of discussion. So there's going to be working on a plan. I'm assuming you're going to have public input on it, and then it will come to the board. Is that how? What are the? I guess my question is, what are the next steps?
Yeah, I think we'll outline that. I think we're quite a ways away from that. This is a long process. We want to make sure the UGB is moving forward. There is a kind of a draft layout in the UGB, and so that'll be a discussion to say if we want to modify that draft layout with some new information. We'll bring that to the board to submit within the UGB as well when we have those discussions. So. But as far as approving or looking at those types of things, that's a ways down the road. So
I guess my question is, when we did the bond, we did a lot of input. We came up with the plan, which was took, I think, 6 months to a year. And then we brought it out to the public and then kind of tweaked it a little bit. Or is that kind of the same process you're thinking of, or what kind of process? I guess my question is.
Yeah, we would have to have a community, and I want to make it clear that this wouldn't be a bond funded project. This would be other sources of fundings and working with partners. So that would have to be laid out and really kind of shared with the community on what we'd like to put there.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up is because we found a lot of things that the community wanted that the original bond pre-site, I don't even know what the name was, hadn't thought of, and it was so valuable. And I know that you guys have a lot of stakeholders, and I'm sure they're bringing that value, but the discussion just came out, tennis courts. A lot of stuff that we were like, we can't afford in the bond might be able to, there might be some, our school is very, very swimming pool. Our school is very creative on getting funds and grants and stuff. And so I like to dream big and see what we can do. I can't wait to see what comes out of this. And yes, Sarah, I'm sure Sarah will advocate for the pool.
She mentioned that. But those were valuable events when we had some drawings on, with the bonds and having a program report here for the board, on what the thought is for that facility. So we'll make sure that we schedule those and outline those and advertise those. I think it'll be something that really kind of unifies. I think it's when you talk about district and community and outdoor space and recreation space and fun space, I think that could be a unifying project for sure.
Well, and I've seen so much with this field, with the soccer players coming and playing on the field, how excited they were. And I just can't wait. We dream big and we do big, and I just can't wait to see what comes out when we have a community bonded together to see what for our family and our students come out. So thank you everyone on that.
It was really exciting to hear from the different stakeholders, different ideas, things that I would have never personally thought of even to think about, and really protecting I guess the property that we have, and hearing the different viewpoints that were represented at that meeting. And then it will just continue as this community is connected and talks to each other. So I think lots of conversations ahead.
Thank you so much. That's very awesome. Anything else? Okay. Moving on to our board guiding principles, and they should be in your packet. We briefly talked about them at the work session and we ran out of time and staff added a little bit. So I guess my questions are, or open for discussion is, do we like what was added and do we have any questions about the policies? Rick gave me a phone call before and I knew some of the background on them, but he kind of gave me a quick brief background on all of them. If you have questions on why this is in here or what was the thinking behind that, what you think about them, and just open it up and have a discussion.
I thought staff did a great job of modifying that, that one board principle that we asked them to. I appreciated during the work session, I think it was Polly who said, really keeping these kind of forefront as we're looking at decisions that we're making. And they served us well in the past, but it is also a new, there's new leadership, there's new faces on the board, so looking at it through the current members' lens is also important.
Well said. Thank you, Sarah.
What do you, oh, we're just talking, we don't have to approve them.
No, we're just talking to see what, if we want to change them, what we think of them, any discussion. I think that we usually pass them in July, but with the schedule being the way it was and having new board members and all that, it was pushed back. So this is open for discussion, and then we will be voting on it for the next meeting, possibly. I mean, we could say we would want to discuss it 2 times in a row, and that's also a choice. But in theory, that we would discuss it now, and then we'd vote on it just like we would a policy, discuss and then vote on it the next time.
So the principle before the one that has edits to it talks about participating in district activities and functions. And I just wonder how that, am I just misinterpreting how that might be similar or different to the sentence that was added? Or are they redundant?
Well, Rick says that when he was on the board, this came from OSBA annual convention, that some community members statewide were saying when boards got into a game for free or a play for free or a swim event or something, that was being their payment, and therefore they had to watch the, how much money and funding, and it was a gift and all of that kind of stuff. So they recommended you put that in your guiding principles, that is something that you were doing as your job per se, your service, so that there wouldn't be a confusion of you're using your title to go to a football game versus it's, going to the parent nights and stuff is very valuable for a board member to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important for the public to realize that there's a value to it. It helps us become better board members. We are out in the community. We, engaging, learning about our students and our family, and it's great to see the achievements. And but I can see your point of it being a little bit of a duplicate. But I do want to make sure that if we do change it, we are doing it correctly and not causing an issue down the road.
This doesn't seem like duplicated to me, because I guess district activities, I keep thinking of sports and functions, whereas the other ones, you're more of a listening learner.
Community.
And yeah, I guess that there's that differentiation for me, but maybe
Got
I'm
it.
misreading it as well.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, one is, I guess, more like representative, supporting the functions that are happening within the school, and the other one, you're there as a learner listener to really be involved in the engagement to really be more supportive and reflective of the community needs.
Mhm.
So to me, it doesn't sound redundant, but
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't necessarily think it was, but I thought it was important to ask the question. Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Any other questions or comments about our priorities or guiding principles?
Is this something we should add as part of our oath? I only just now thought of it, or I would have said something before. Because we're really taking these on as, I don't know.
I think they might be, and I mentioned this at the work session, and I got some words from Janet, and I forgot what they were again, but they were board norms and board
right.
agreements. And I think that might be something that you would put in that section versus the oath. I think we need to not
I
do
agree.
that since it's a legal
Yep.
type thing.
That makes sense.
I have another question. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please.
Just kidding. I'm not sorry. Because
Yeah, don't be sorry.
I'm wondering if the red should maybe be added to the one above, because where it's added, it's really talking about the board shall encourage appropriate communication pathways with students, parent, guardians, community members, and district staff while maintaining the highest code of ethics and professional behavior. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting confused now.
I honestly,
Where maybe in the red should go on the one above, because you're talking about engagement and involvement in community events. Where it's at, to me, it reads more of the communication pathways that the board will really hope to influence in an appropriate way. I don't know.
I like your idea because I kind of, when we were talking about this, for me, part of it is like, why are all the board members at an opening of the new Talent Gateway project? And it's because of this. So I think that those two tie together because we would be out in public representing sometimes the board, sometimes we're there as with our families. And I think it ties in nicely, and it would be able to answer those questions on why was a majority of the board at some public event that we, because we value going to those. So I think it makes sense moving it up.
Because one seems to me more like the communication pathway versus involvement.
Yeah. Okay. So are we in agreement that we would move it up and then we will can discuss it again and vote on it at the next meeting? But any other discussion on this?
Thank you for whoever of the staff put this together. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay. The next agenda, it is in your blue folders. And as we talked about at the board work session, if you would like to add anything or have any questions, you can contact me, Denise and Brent, and we will talk about it when this is just draft. We do meet prior to the meeting and make a official agenda. So you have the time to do that. Thank you very much. Oh,
Just this draft has 6 p.m.
oh,
on it.
Oh,
So
instead of 10 a.m.
yes.
I
Yeah.
know
We need to make a few adjustments because at the 10 a.m. and then our program report will really be the student representative. So then we'll add the guiding principle action item.
And then when we receive the packet for this meeting, we'll have these policies to review at that time.
Yes.
Right? So just a plug
And
for reviewing those.
Do your own policies.
and we'll have a deadline to where we can get the student reps information as well. So you can have some heads up on that. So
And the next meeting is the public meeting for Division 22 standard? Yes?
yes, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions about that? Thank you so much for everyone attending, and thank you so much for everyone staying online. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Have a nice night.